but this is the thing, man. Players know players.
Yeah.
Players respect players.
Yes, they do.
And so you can watch on the field.
Yeah.
And this is a clue for the kids.
Yeah.
If these dudes ain't running up to you or tapping your hand, then you ain't do your job that night. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what I know. People talk all kind of trash over the internet, in person and everything, but if a guy gives you, for men anyway, I know this for men, if I fight a guy or anything like that, or we in competition, and he give me a heck of a game,
yeah,
I got to give him his ups. Welcome to the Wildcat Show, brought to you by Bennett Automotive Group. Hi, I'm Calvin Wilson, and I'm here with Travis Roland, the head coach of the Camden County Wildcats. Coach, we're going to get right into it and try to get over this. Yeah. And we're going to go into recap of the Lowndes County game. We were talking just before we got on air about the quarterback from Lowndes County. He's a 6'4", 2 what you think he is?
15, 210.
Yeah, 215, 210, good-looking kid, sophomore out of Lowndes County. What do you just recap the game offensively first of all? For
our offense, our offense. I thought we ran the ball well again. We ran for 143 yards. I think this is the first time where the passing didn't match with the running. So you need that in that sense. You need the rushing to double. Right, if your passing don't match up with it like it's done all year, because that's been our biggest strength, is that how balanced we've been. If we run for 150, 160, we threw for another 150, 160. Now you've gotten up to 300 plus yards offense, and you've scored some points. And so I think the biggest part was, they held missed everything to no catches. Did a great job they challenged at least 4 or 5 of them. We had a couple different situations that kept them for Elias from having some catches. So I think credit to them for doing a good job of taking some things away. And being close enough to contest some of those plays. But again, I thought Antoine Williams was a bright spot for us. He had a pretty good game for us, and then Hardy had a solid game on 10 carries for 60 yards, I think it was, and Antoine had 12 for about 70. So both those guys still had a really good game. I think we just got to continue to establish the run to open up. Because if we don't establish the run early, people will continue to just take away the pass stuff and dare you to run it. So we got to be willing to take what they're going to give us, kind of that old school way of being okay with a 4-5 yard run on first down and then doing it again on second down. That's what they give to you. So I just think, getting behind, they're able to dictate, when we got behind, they were able to dictate the pace of the game, and dare us to, because when you run the ball, you are going to chew up the clock. And so you got to score to be able to stay in it. So, I think, we play solid, man. Just got to, again, first 2 drives of the game, we go down and score. Who knows what happens? Because that was our first game all year where we did not score when we first had the ball, some form of points, be it touchdown or field goal. And that happened the first 2 drives of the game when we didn't get any points. And so psyche-wise, whether it's us as adults, that psyche messed up our psyche, or even the kids, psyche gets messed up. So that was a situation that we gotta respond to better this week. Right, and I think on offense, offense is different than defense because of rhythm. Rhythm, yeah. And if man, I equate all offense, basketball, baseball, anything is rhythm. As far as I equate it to ping pong. Yeah. I'm not a good ping pong player, but if I can get to that corner every time, and then I can come with what I want to come with. Yeah. I can throw your rhythm off, and I think our rhythm was off from the first drive on. And we tried to get back into it, but okay, defensively, what do you think? Yeah, you just got got to tackle. That's your baby now. That's absolutely, that's my baby. We got to tackle better, man. We didn't tackle well. I think and like I tell everybody, I went into it personally to poke holes in what we did as coaches, because I'm all about always us being able to put these kids in great positions to make some plays. And so, we have to evaluate those things, but we got to tackle a little bit better and then just make plays on the ball in there. I think they made some contested catches, whether it was on the sideline, at that big third down slant route, we hit him pretty decent. Yes, sir. We had one guy on his arm, he got 5, caught it with all fingertips. He made a heck of a catch. So you got to make plays on the ball in there. We've done that at times this year. We got to make plays on the ball in there, and we got to continue to, try to confuse the other offense with the looks we give to make sure they're not getting the same looks. And so I'm always give credit to the team. When you lose to them, they made plays when plays need to be made. Even when, like we say, talked about it off air, the 1 3rd down where he threw he came left, nobody was open, got back right, and flat-footed from the middle of the field, he threw a rope, like no arrow on it, threw a rope to the sideline. The kid made a toe tap and catch. And I think too, you can't understate the game that I think it's Parrish that he did have. He had almost 200 yards of total offense between rushing and passing or receiving yards. So I thought he had a very clutch senior game for them. Obviously, the quarterback, man, his arm strength was phenomenal. He made great decisions with the football and did the things he needed to do. And again, I think we just got to play better. We got to figure out on the road, what the issue is and kind of, and like I told somebody earlier today, we just responded to adversity, and that's from a adult, which is the coaches, coaches and the players as a total program. We just got to respond to adversity better, in those times. And when we get down, we got to still be able to make plays, much like we did against Brunswick. So we've done it before, and so we got to figure out what kept us from doing it against Valdosta, against Lowndes. But again, we responded well against Richmond Hill, who went and had a big victory. You know what I mean? And now, so it's just about us responding, man, the right way.
And what's big about being on the road, I think for some of these kids, they don't understand it. Really ain't nothing to lose.
Right.
My whole mentality on the road was, hey,
lay it all out.
They already hate me. And so what I could do is I could silence them, then I could talk as much as I want to. Yeah. But at home for me was a little more pressure because they expected you to do stuff. But on the road, you should be able to just lay your hair back and catch it on fire and do as much as you can. Now, we're gonna move on past this game, but we're gonna go to the player of the game. The player of the game brought to you by Jane Brown, State Farm agent here in Kingsland, Georgia, is DC David Coleman.
Yes, sir.
I got to the game late. I didn't see the return, but they told me he had one heck of a return.
Oh, yeah, man. That kid, again, he's electric. He gave our offense the ball, Hardy in the first one. Because of DC getting the ball, we went reverse, and DC handed the ball to him. They're like they should. Everybody followed DC, and we got Hardy, got us all down to the 30-yard line the first drive of the game. And then, they kicked it to him again, which I'm not sure why people do it. I'm glad that they think they can cover him. Again, same thing as always, breaking tackles, doing certain things, and that's why this week he'll make his debut on offense, because this is a kid that we have to get more opportunities with the ball in his hands, because every time he's touched it this year, he's been a tackle or a block away from going.
Yeah, one thing that I watched after the game is him and number 14. Like him and number 14 got together and they took pictures together.
Yeah.
And this one thing.
Great matchup all game.
But this is the thing, man. Players know players.
Yeah.
Players respect players.
Yes, they do.
And so you can watch on the field.
Yeah.
And this is a clue for the kids. Yeah. If these dudes ain't running up to you or tapping your hand, then you ain't do your job that night. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what I know. People talk all kind of trash over the internet, in person and everything. But if a guy gives you, for men anyway, I know this for men. If I fight a guy or anything like that, or we in competition, and he give me a heck of a game, I got to give him his ups.
Yep.
And it's good to see, that kind of stuff going on. What you think about that, Coach?
Oh, man, it's very true. I think, and you've seen that in all of our games, where whether our kids go up to a guy or a guy comes up to them, that's definitely that gratification, that satisfaction of the guys. Like, hey, man, you played a heck of a football game, and you're a heck of a football player. And they talk trash all night long. But that goes to show that, and it goes to show how even like conflict. We talk about conflict resolution, man. Those guys battled, tooth and nail, talk trash each other, with extra after the whistle with each other. But once the game was over and they slapped hands and said good game, they were able to say, man, you know what, you a baller, I'm a baller, let's flick it up or whatever and do whatever. So I think that's definitely a sign of respect, and it's something that too kids got to be able to look to say I can compete against somebody and go at it and hate their guts while we're in the game, but when the game over, I can dap them up and be like, hey, man, good luck the rest of the year, stay healthy, and move on from there. So,
and that's a good thing about competition, because you never know when you're going to see these guys again, man, and friendships are formed in battles.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not only with your people, but other people.
Yes, sir.
Now, I went out to practice yesterday, and I noticed you had some freshmen out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is their season over?
Yeah, freshman season's over, JV season's over. So now we make one big, huge conglomerate of a football program, and we move those guys up so they can start to get acclimated. You know, it's kind of like a pre-spring for some of those younger guys to just kind of be able to see how things are going to go for them next year and be able to be out there and see, kind of get their eyes open a little more.
So this is my biggest question with that. Like, were they asked to come out, or was it an option for them to come out?
Oh, it was an option. And, you know, honestly, I was very surprised at how many kids showed up out there from that freshman group. And my thing is, too, when it comes to that, I tell every big guy, you are more than welcome, because you can never have enough big guys. So any kid that played O-line, D-line, if they want to stay, by all means, you can stay. Now, we have to work with our other sports. So, like, those guys that are wrestlers, we definitely want them to go be a part of what Coach Wilder has built and is still building with the greatness of the wrestling program. And then same thing with basketball guys. They're going to be important to what Coach Bailey has started and building here. We want to make sure those guys can get to him. But those other guys that maybe don't play anything else, they were more than welcome, given the option to come out or, you know, move on to something else. And I had a lot of guys choose to stay out there. So it lets me know we're doing right by our kids.
Right. And when I saw the freshmen out there, I was like, you know, were they forced to, not forced, but were they asked to come out? Because that's a privilege too. Or was it an option? Because if it was an option, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, if it was an option for those guys to come out there, man, that's big. That's big. Who are some of the freshmen? I mean, I just like to look at the future. I know we gonna talk about the present, but I like to know what's coming down the pipeline.
Man, kid named Alberti. He's gonna be a baller.
And hold up, before you go there, after practice, I stopped him because I know him. You know what I'm saying? And but I watched him one JV game. Look, he gonna be on both sides of the ball. He got great hands.
Great hands.
He got good size.
Yes,
but I told him yesterday, I said, look, you gotta get your body right. I said, you get your body right. No, you keep working on your body. They ain't gonna have no choice but to put you on the field. And you might get help. You don't never know. You might get help now.
He's doing a great job. He's in there with Coach Mays in second block. That freshman at the class, doing a good job. Gentleman Davis is another one, doing a great job. You know, that defensive line group, they are doing a phenomenal job, man. All those kids, you know, that making plays and doing some big time things. We had a kid that returned the interception for a touchdown this year, whose name I cannot. Too many hits to the head. It is escaping me. One of my light-skinned kids. You know, I think DC's little brother is going to be a baller. I keep telling them, both of them know the baby boy in 8th grade. He's got a great body too. But you know, we got a good group, man. Mr. Whitley, the young Whitley, he even raced his brother yesterday when we were conditioning.
I saw that.
So you know, I think he's going to be a good one for us. So there's some really good players out there. That the guys that had a great freshman season and are doing some good things. So we're excited those kids want to be out there in the atmosphere and in the environment. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, that mentality of them being out there was big for me to see. One thing, I you know, we about to hit playoff time if we can make it.
We in playoff time,
and so the intensity for me ramps up. I don't know about everybody else, but the intensity ramps up. Now this Colquitt County, we're going to Colquitt County game. They're definitely a rivalry.
Yeah,
everybody knows. If you don't know, Lowndes and Valdosta a rivalry, Tiff's a rivalry, Richmond Hill
is a rivalry.
It's definitely a rivalry.
Region 1 rivalry, everybody.
So we go into this Colquitt game. We're 1 and 2 in the region.
Yep.
So where are we at in the region as far as?
So if it started today, we'd be out just because of virtue of 4 teams are tied at 2-1. But there's a whole lot of games. These next 2 weeks are going to be beyond interesting. The only team mathematically eliminated right now is Tiff. You know, and matter of fact, no, I lied. They're not. They have 2 games left, so nobody is mathematically eliminated at the moment because, again, 2 and 3 is going to get somebody. You know, if somebody goes 2 and 3, they will get in, and so nobody's mathematically eliminated. You know, I said that earlier today, talking to another media person, that you know we got beat then beat a team that beat the team that beat a team.
Yeah,
so it's crazy to even like you can't even try to wrap your head around it. You know, like I told him, I said that somebody was asking me all the time, bro. I said, man, the only thing I'm worried about is us and the last 2 games we got going on. I say, and that's that, and seeing how it works out there. But it's a lot of football left to be played.
No doubt.
You know, there's a whole lot of different scenarios that are going to play out, but it's going to be a fun game, man. You know, the Gill going to be rocking because we at home and because it's a region game.
Now we're gonna go into cold quit the defense. We're gonna go on the defensive side of the ball. They got
That is Jartavius Flournoy. Yeah, big 5'1", man. He makes a ton of plays. Big physical specimen kid. I think when I looked early when I first got up here, I think he's one of 3 or 4 starters back on defense they got back. And they play his nose, he plays in. Yeah. You know, who knows, they might even stand him up at outside linebacker. He's so athletic. But just a brute force, man. You know, reminds you, again, it's like we always talk about. Every week in Region 1, you're gonna talk about D lineman and O lineman.
Yes,
like that's just what this region feeds off of. But he's a great playmaker. And then number 8, you know, what is it, Amari Wilson? That's another kid that's another kid up front that makes plays for him. He made plays for him last year. Yeah. You know, he's gotten even thicker. I think he was hovering right around 215. I think he's probably put on 20 pounds in the offseason. And so he's a kid that makes plays for them up front as well. So it's gonna be another war up front. You know, like every game in this region is, you gotta be ready to be physical. And I think, you know, they lean on that, and it's gonna be a good ball game.
Yeah, they got big athletes.
Yep.
Big athletes. And on offense, now we talking about 2 more linemen.
Yeah.
Number 55 and number 60.
You know, they play on that left side, and you know, they run left. You know, those guys do a good job of getting movement. They're the 2 returning starters on the offensive line. And you know, again, you lean on those guys like us. We you know, early in the year when we needed a yard or 2, we were running left. You know, our left side was where, you know, some of our 2 seniors were out of the 4 up front, and that's kind of the where we ran to. So they're kind of doing it the same way, I think, and then they're blessed to have a phenomenal back in number 34. He is a kid that has impressed. You know, he didn't play last year, but he has come on the scene and said right away, hey, everybody, I'm here. I'm ready to make some plays. And so, you know, it's going to be important that we tackle him in space, and that, you know, there's going to be times we're going to tackle him one-on-one. You never want to have to be in that situation, but in football today, you know, it's so spread out. We're going to have to tackle him one-on-one, and hopefully we can have it be in a box and in a phone booth. We're going to have to make plays when he's got the football.
Yeah, I watched the kid huddle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he can move.
Yeah, he got feet, and one thing about him is he creates space. Now, you may not understand what I'm saying. Like when you're in his space, he may take a step back,
make some subtle movements
to get to where he got to get at. And it was amazing to see some of the shifts and some of the movements that he had.
He's probably talking about that pass he caught going towards the sideline. It's like there's no way he's going to even get 5 yards.
Slid.
He did a little hezzy and turned it to, I think, like a 60-yard touchdown off a little swing route. Yeah. So he's great at creating space, man.
And their coaching staff.
Yeah. Coach Calhoun's been there for a while. You know, I think he was there with the old regime as the offensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach. They've made big time runs since he's been there. You know, he was a state champion coordinator, and now I think as a head coach he's been 3rd round, 4th round a couple times. So you know, you again, like we say, it's every week. You know, even when we go against Tiff next week, Coach Littlejohn's he's hired a good staff and done good things. So every single week, everybody's tested. The kids, the coaches, shoot the bands, everybody, cheerleaders, everybody gets tested.
The letters,
right? The letters, because Lowndes Student Station brought it. You know, last week. So every week, every part of your program is tested, and you have to be able to respond. So that's why I say you can't wallow in wins. You can't wallow in defeats, because if you wallow into that too long, the next week you can turn around and get popped again. You know, and so you got to make sure that you're ready to move on.
I want to go back to something that you said last week when you said Coach Alfred talked to the quarterback club, and he said that you guys are here to do what?
Build a program.
Build a what?
Program.
Okay, build a program.
Not one season.
Okay, and that's built to last.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be built to last. Coach, final words on what's going on this week and shoot, what we can expect.
Everything here on out is big time football, you know, because once you even get into the playoffs, right? it's going to be big-time football. And we need Camden County to do what Camden County always does. You know, like when Dr. Green's message said, stand up, we need Camden County to stand up and stand up in the bleachers, stand up in telling these kids to continue to fight the Camden County way. We just need to stand up. And if we stand up as a county, which means we standing up as a program, we're going to be all right. And you're going to expect us to fight, man. Laying down is not an option. The guys know that. The coaches know that. You know, everybody's been challenged and pushed, and you're going to have to stand up, or you won't be around here. That's how it's going to have to go. You know,
that's what you've been told.
Oh, yeah. That's how I got to go, man. You got to stand up. You got to play.
Yeah.
And so we got to continue to do that.
So tell the people what time, because it was 8 o'clock last week.
No, we don't have 8 o'clock start time. We got a 7:30 start. You know, the next 2 weeks we're home. You know, this week is just a regular old football game. I think the Letters have it as camo week this week for them and for their theme. So if you want to wear some camo, if you got some nice camo gear with Camden County on it, for sure come out and wear it to match up with the student section. We'll be in those Columbia blues that everybody likes. You know, I think, or maybe going back to Navy, depending on what the kids decide.
Whatever.
But you know, 7:30 start time. We're at home again, and then you know next week is senior night, so come out and support these kids. We're looking forward to it being a raucous environment. We're ready to go, ready to get it on and play Camden County football.
Coach, if y'all came out in pinstripes, I'm gonna be there.
That's right, baby.
That's
whatever we come out in.
Hey, thank y'all thank you for joining us, and we'll see y'all later.